Alright, frigid throttlers. Today started off cold and blue with just enough snowpack you could easily forget we're still dealing with early season conditions in mid-January. I was out on the second ride of the season. We'd gotten fresh snow all week, and I made it to a point where my stoke level and the illusion of fresh pow blinded me to the very expensive consequences underneath. For this video, we're going to roll through the highlights of the day, talk our way through the accident, review the damage, and plan for the rebuild.
I made it back up.
Did you go all the way down into that little bowl area?
No, I don't know about all the...
Up to this point in the day, I'd been playing it pretty safe. I'd had some awesome sessions rolling through the fresh pow on the road and started to progress off trail little by little. Right there, you can see I took a pretty good impact on the first side hill of the season. At this point, I should have heeded warning, but with the GoPro snapped to my helmet, I was determined to make up for the late start of the season. So how'd we get here? Too much fun, too little experience, and far too little snow. Early season riding like this is often referred to as A-Arm Roulette. It's a gamble. You wager the cost of high-dollar repairs against the experience of fresh tracks and being the first group to open up a new zone for the season. But the reason gambling works is because on a long enough time frame, the house always wins. Unlucky enough for me, this was only my second ride. So what's going through your mind at this point? Probably, what the f did I hit? Oh, that would do it. At this point, it probably took me a whole 3 minutes before I was able to find the courage to check the damage. In the back of my mind, I was hoping maybe I got away scotch-free. Again, inexperience is what got me here. So, just for one last breakdown of the accident and how it unfolded. Obviously, working my way up this small hill climb here, still getting used to the power, output, and feel of the sled. As I approach the stump, you can obviously see a characteristic of a stump below the surface, but at this point of the climb, I'm more focused on my entry of the trail above, my speed in the approach, and whether I'm turning left or right. At the very last second, you can see I dip the sled to the left in preparation for the turn that direction, and it drops my ski just below the surface to drill straight into the stump. In hindsight, this could have saved me from a much more costly repair, or even a totaled sled. If my ski had stayed above the snow and just skipped over the stump, I would have had a direct hit with my bulkhead, which could have made for a far more expensive repair, or even a completely totaled sled. So after a bit of around and some grabbing, we finally braced up the ski with this log and some mule tape to get it down the mountain. The most difficult part of the temporary repair was getting the tie rod disconnected from the broken ski so we'd be able to bring her down the mountain with just the steering from the right ski and not having it locked up. A pretty significant detail.
Well, that is a rough day. I gotta say, it is mostly my fault. Just being excited and not paying attention. And that'll be an expensive boo-boo. But I've never been someone to learn from others, and usually gotta do it myself.
All right, Alan, how'd we do?
I think we're gonna get it.
I think we're gonna get it too,
Not gonna be
dude.
too bad.
So again, this is how we brought it out of the mountains. Got super lucky. I had one buddy with a really nice tree saw. Was able to find this tree really close to where we wrecked it. We tried, getting it out without this brace, but the ski just kept folding under the sled and we weren't getting anywhere. So after that, we braced it up with this, and that worked really well. My buddy he called this mule tape, and it worked really well to tie knots. It was a lot easier than a rope for those to stay tight, and it was so cold out there that any moisture on here, once you tied that knot, it wasn't going anywhere. So we braced it there in the back, braced it up here, and then up at the toe of the ski we braced it up to the front, so that was to keep it from maybe sliding out or diving down while we were riding it. And this setup worked really well. It took us a while. Didn't think that we had the right tool to pull off this steering column here, and we were trying to get it down without any steering. So with this braced up, the steering, it wouldn't move at all, and it was a little tilted to the left from what I remember. So we were going down the trail, picking up the rear of the front of the sled to steer it, and just making it like 10 or 15 feet at a time until my buddy remembered that he had a crescent wrench. So with that, we were able to flip the ski up on its side, which luckily pinched this bolt so it wouldn't turn. And we were able to pull off this bottom bolt, hammer this up out of the way, and once we did that, we're perfectly set to get the sled off the mountain with just the steering from the right ski. If we weren't able to do that, it would have taken all night to get the sled down, and it was just exhausting hopping off every 10 feet to pick up the front or the back and kind of steer it down the mountain that way. It was pretty rough, but got the diesel heater going. I'm gonna kick the sled up on its side and start pulling parts off. I haven't found any damage to the bulkhead, so I think we're looking good. Might just get away with a couple A-arms, a new shock, and we'll see if I want to replace the sway bar or not. Disassembly. I'm not sure if it'll be wise to explore the Uh-oh.
What?
The manager's here.
What'd you do?
Oh, just a little boo-boo.
Is that a splint?
Yeah. Just a bit of an accident, but you still love me, right?
Uh-huh.
Did you have fun?
Mm-hmm.
Into a bit of trouble just getting this shock out of there from the way the A-arm's bent. I think it's just pinched in there, so got my trusty broom. Alright, dude. So we got it off. See if we can't get the shock out of here without busting my shin. Everything looks good on the bulkhead, so that's great. Looks like I'm gonna be able to get away with a couple A-arms, a new shock. I'll probably just bend this steering column back myself. And I think the sway bar is actually good. It may be I think the sway bar is actually good. It may be bent a little out of shape, but it looks pretty close to what the other side does. Just giving a close-up of the bulkhead. It's time to go post the epic video and hopefully find somebody with some parts.
Alright, frigid throttlers, that about closes it out for this video, but I've made strides towards getting the sled back onto the snow. I've landed a pretty sweet deal on some replacement A-arms and found out that I actually can get the shock shaft and rebuild kit for the Walker Evans Velocity shocks. I plan to tackle this myself, so if you're looking to follow the progression of the rebuild or want to know what goes into rebuilding these sled shocks, subscribe and keep an eye peeled for the next video.